Today I want to share a tutorial on one of my favorite features in Fusion 360, and that's pattern replication. There's so many ways you can use pattern replication in Fusion 360. It would be a video hours long if I showed you every way you can use it. So I'm just going to show you some of my favorite ways and the ways I think you'll see the most value in. I know you guys will love this. Let's start with a simple design here in the design workspace. I just have a ring that's built, and I want to add some kind of say bolt holes around the outside of it. And I have a little sketch here where I've got one of them sketched up already. So I'll just extrude this and bring that up to be even with the other surface. And then I'll go ahead and fillet and hit these edges to make them a little bit, make this piece a little bit better attached. I think I didn't get that one. There we go. So now I have one filleted bolt hole around this ring, but I want 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use pattern replication to do that for me. And I can pattern replicate not only bodies and components, also faces, but I can replicate features as well, which is, I think, super powerful. This is a feature I think you'll use a lot. So I'll click on pattern replication. I'll say this time I want to do circular as opposed to rectangular or along a path. And I want to replicate features. So here I'm going to select the features from the timeline that I want, those extrude and the fillet, and I'll pick the axis that I want next to revolve those features around. In this case, I'm going to say I want 6 of those, and I have a part with 6 bolt holes. That was awesome. I think a super convenient way to be able to do that very efficiently. Now I'm going to take this into CAM, and I'm going to use pattern replication to replicate the toolpaths for it. So I only have to set the toolpaths up once, and I only have to set the stock up on the CNC one time when I cut out multiple parts, which is another awesome time saver. So from here I'll go into the manufacturing workspace, and I'll create a new setup. In this setup, I am going to pick the stock box point right here, just to be front and left at the bottom of the stock, which is my typical mode. I am going to go into the stock and define a fixed size box for this exercise. Let's say I have a piece of stock that is 350 millimeters wide. It is 250 millimeters deep, and I don't want this to be, as you can see, it defaults to the center because I'm going to cut mini out of this. I don't want that. I want it to be offset from the left side by, let's call it 10 millimeters, and I'm going to do the same thing on the front by another 10 millimeters, and there we go. So now I have my part laid out on the stock where I'd like it to be, assuming that I'm going to add a few more of these parts on the stock. So now that I have the setup, let's go to define the toolpath. So I'll pick a 2D contour. I'm going to do this inside and the outside of this shape, and we will go ahead and say let's do -0.1 just to make sure I cut through the whole thing. And I got to pick my tool. 1/4 inch upcut is what I've got here. Now you can see how that's going to cut that out. I still want to get these holes, so let's do that. We'll do 2D bore, and I'm going to pick a different tool because a 1/4 inch will barely fit inside that, so I'll use an 1/8 inch. And I now am going to select one of these, and I will say Fusion select the rest for me because they're the same diameter, and it will just do that, which is awesome. Now again, I'll go back down here to set my offset to -0.1, and I'm good to go there. Now this part has this toolpath. It is ready to go. And now I am going to replicate it. So the way you do that is you highlight the toolpaths that you would like to replicate, and right click and then say add to pattern. And when you do that, you now have the option to do various types of replications. This one we're going to do a linear pattern, and I want to say my spacing is going to be 100 millimeters. And I have got, I do not want that. I want 3 units 100 millimeters apart. My direction is going to be on the X, but I also want another direction that is on the Y, and we'll make that one 2, which is already set at 100. And now something's funny there. What have I got goofy? Oh, I didn't select the right axis somehow. There. So there we go. So now I have a 2x3 grid, and I am good to go. That's what I want to have happen. And you can see how it's already got the tool paths laid out here. I didn't have to define anything about those parts. I just had to say replicate the tool paths. Now, because my stock is big enough, it's just going to do that for me. So if we look at the simulation just to get an idea of what it looks like, you can see it does all the contours. And then it starts on all the bores. Now I could have set this to complete one part with both the two tools on each part before moving on to the next, but it's just more efficient to do it one tool at a time across all parts. So that's the way this was. This is, to me, a big efficiency. This is a nice time saver in a shop. Fewer setups, fewer tool changes, less time to machine, and a very easy thing to do. So now that we've done it that way, let's do it another way. We'll go ahead and delete this. Yeah, we might be able to leave that there. Let's see what happens. Let's go back to design. And now in design, what we're going to do is we're going to replicate here. Another use of pattern replication. Let's say I want to lay them out manually on my stock the way that I want it to be, and it's a little bit more sophisticated than just a 2x3 grid. So I'll start with a 2x3 grid just to get the number of units I need, and then I'll move them around the way I need to make them fit in the stock the way that I need to. So here I would like to replicate components, but as you'll see, it won't let me select this because it's not a component. So what I need to do is make a component from this part. So I just, on the body, I click it, right click, and create components from bodies. Now it's a component of its own. You can see it's pulled out here. And I'm going to go back to replication, select it. I am actually on components, then select it. And we are going to pick our axes. There's that one and that one. And I want to have it 3 on the first and 2 on the second by 100, same as I did before. Now, this is the part where I'm going to customize the layout here. And I'm not going to customize it that much. I'm just going to customize it a little. And what I want to do is I want to remove one of these just to show how that works. But what you'll find here in Fusion is it won't let me move this, it won't even let me select this as a component. And the reason why it won't is because this component is anchored, as you can see. It is grounded to its parent. And that's what the little anchor symbol on the body means. So I'm going to right click it and say unground from parent. Now when I click move, I can actually grab this thing, and I think it's already done that for me. And now I'm just going to do something simple here for the sake of this demonstration and rotate it. I could have moved it in a more complicated way, but now you can see they're not identically positioned. So a rectangular replication wouldn't have taken care of this for me. It wouldn't do this in CAM. So with that, I'm going to go back into CAM and I want to modify my setup, and I'm going to tell it, do you want to, yeah, I'll go ahead and start over again. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select just this model that I want as my source. That's the one I'm going to create my toolpaths for. Okay. Now I click OK, and then you know what, I am going to delete this because we're just going to create a different type of replication. So we'll do the same 2D contour we did before, the inside and the outside, and it's just going to happen on this part since I selected that body only. We'll set our heights, -0.1. Okay, pick my tool. What's the 1/4 inch for this exercise? Then I am going to do another 2D bore, and we'll pick the right tool. It's a smaller one so I can get inside those holes. And then we're going to select one of these holes and tell it select all those that are the same diameter. And because I had previously selected in the setup just this body, it's only selecting that body's holes. So now we go to heights and we specify -0.1 and click OK. Now it's there. Now to replicate this, including the funny orientation of one or more of the components on this project, I again right click the toolpaths, add to new pattern, and this time instead of saying linear spacing I say component pattern. And what it's going to do is after I pick the source here, it's going to find all similar components and machine them no matter what position they happen to be in, which I think is awesome. A great way to be able to arrange your material any way you want to and have Fusion just figure it out and cut the toolpaths for you. So if I didn't want to cut all of them for some reason, I can deselect and it won't cut them all. But I can also reselect them, have it cut all of them for me. So now, even though I've got some of these parts in non-uniform positions, I have toolpaths created for me automatically for all of them based off of what I did on the first one. And you can kind of see that work in simulation, where we cut all the contours, and then we go back and cut all the bores. Now, I could also have set this pattern up such that it cut a single part out completely and did the tool changes for that part and then moved on to do the next part, but it's just more efficient and fewer tool changes to do it this way. So I think this is another really amazing way to use replication in Fusion 360 CAM. If you're a CNC guy making multiple parts, multiple products, same type over and over again, this is going to be something that can really save you some time.